Kim and Kim, and welcome to Ask Mom's podcast. Yay!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ask Moms. As a reminder, we are not professionals, but we can share our experience and remind you that you're awesome. If you feel the need for professional support, though, please reach out to a qualified medical expert. Today, we're talking all things motherhood, the good, the tough, and everything in between. And our episode is all about helping you teens out there and parents navigate through the experience of getting a first job. Whoa. Mm-hmm. You're getting older, and it might be scary, but stick with us. We got your back.
Absolutely. Part-time jobs are like a rite of passage anyway, right? And what better opportunity to try different places to see if you'd like those kinds of jobs, that kind of environment, right?
Yeah.
So take it as a positive thing.
Oh, my God, it could be so fun.
Exactly.
Don't be scared.
Right.
We'll walk you through it.
That's
It'll be
right.
fun.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
You're not stuck there forever.
Exactly.
So this is a topic that we researched, of course, but Kim and I actually do have some great experience on this topic.
Yep.
Kim was in the business world for over 30 years and part of the time managing an office with people reporting to her. So there's a lot of good wisdom here. And my experience is that I worked in human resources, and I can share some thoughts of what was considered when we hired a new employee, especially people new to the working world.
Yeah. So between the three of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kim, me, and the internet, we've got you covered. Okay, so let's get started with teens' first job, what to consider. So safety is always first.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not even think of safety as an issue. Not to scare you, but according to Canada.ca, okay, 40% of all workplace injuries happen during the first 6 months on the job. And injuries are preventative. Know your rights and responsibilities. Inform yourself to protect yourself. And actually, this happened to my son. He had an accident at work, and he ended up in the hospital for, 3 or 4 days. He was okay, thank goodness, but he slipped, fell, hit his head. Yeah, so he's okay. So it's really important it can happen.
And that could have been avoided, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's make sure that we pay attention to this. This is critical. An example of some common job hazards would be like physical ones: slips, trips, falls, noise, heat, chemicals, dangerous ones, or unlabeled liquids and gases,
That's
right?
scary.
Yeah, so we need WHMIS and all that, and the safety data sheets. Biological, so bodily fluids, right? Mm-hmm. Molds, bacterias. Ergonomic, improper lifting, repetitive strain. And psychosocial in the workplace, bullying.
Yeah, that happens.
And overly demanding schedule.
Always good to know, and it's good to know your rights.
Absolutely.
I think in Canada, it's Canada.ca, and you would search attention younger workers. But no matter where you are in the world, here are some workplace safety tips.
Yes.
For you.
So training is huge, and do pay attention. Don't, be that one who sits there and just kind of nods off, or you zone out on your phones. This is the one time not to be doing that, right?
Right.
It's important. Even though it's boring, yeah, it is,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's super important.
Yeah.
If something isn't clear, ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you're not comfortable with the answers, then that's a red flag there. The person gives you a hard time about asking questions. That's another red flag.
Yeah.
By the way, learning should also be ongoing, right? So things in companies often change. There's new systems, new products, new management, new processes, routines, procedures. So always be open to learning and staying on top of what's going on around you. Super important.
Yes. And on top of that, ask for supervision until you're comfortable. If someone leaves you alone and you're still not feeling like you have the grasp of what you need to do, it's okay to ask for somebody to be with you until you are comfortable. For instance, you get your brother and you're helping him to ride a bike, right? So you wouldn't put him on a bike and say, okay, see ya.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, some
Bye-bye.
kids would, but you really shouldn't. So it's the same thing with a new job. You can't just say, oh, here, do this, and I'll be back later. Like, you have to be comfortable, and it's okay for you not to know. Some people feel funny and say, oh, like, why am I not getting this? I'm not going to say anything because I should probably know this. Everybody's in the same boat and people have questions. It's normal.
Yeah.
Don't be shy.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Yeah.
Management can't be everywhere all at once, right?
Yeah.
So it's up to you to report anything that you see, any kind of risks. If you do see something, say something. Anything from like a loose step to a leaky gas container, anything. Don't ever hesitate to report it.
Yeah.
The company should thank you. And if they don't, then there's another red flag.
If something is bothering you, speak up. Listen to your gut. And if that spidey sense is saying something's off, reach out to your manager, human resources, or someone senior that you feel would help you. If you can't find anybody there, tell your parents or tell somebody at home. Yeah, so here are some obligations and responsibilities that all employers, people hiring, they should inform you about any hazards in your workplace. They should provide you with safety gear and training, so if you need glasses or gloves or whatever. Develop and enforce health and safety policies, so every company should have a policy. And they should also do everything reasonable to protect you from work-related injuries and illnesses. Yeah.
And we don't want to be scaring you. This is just wanting you to be informed. We hope that you don't have to worry about any of these hazards anyway, but just be aware. And it's good to know, even if for a friend of yours, if it's not for yourself. All right, so we know we've got this safety thing. So enough mothering. If you were our kids, though, and this is your first job, we'd want to make sure that you are safe. So be kind to your parents if they're kind of being overprotective. It just shows that they love you, right?
Yeah.
So please remember that, and don't be too harsh on them.
Let's get ready for that interview.
Woohoo!
So we have the point of view of both a mom and a dad. One source we used is from an article called Year of the Dad. So it's a dad that wrote his ideas. And on top of this, great feedback, he received a suggestion. And that is for all for all teens out there that want to get a job, show enthusiasm. Show that you really want to be there and that you like the company. Where do we start in HR, Kim?
Okay, so before you even apply for this job, check out the company. See if it's someplace you really want to work and the job. Are these things you want to do? Like, don't waste your time and their time, right? The hours, is it just for the summer? Is this weekends? Can you work the hours? Do you have any extracurricular activities that are going to interfere? Also, do you get excited about this job? Is it something you want to do? That's important.
Yeah, it is important because you got to go there all the time.
Yeah, and if you're not looking forward to it and you start getting...
like, why do it?
And how will you get there? Can you get there? Can you get there on time? So do you have to arrange transportation yourself? Do you have to, ride your bike? Can you get a drive? Do you have to take the bus, mom and dad? You could lose a job if you can't be reliable.
Yeah, because if you can't be there on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not doing the job.
You're not doing the job, and
it's not fair to them.
And then you're going to feel uncomfortable because they'll ask you to leave.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing to think about in advance. And then once you've ironed that out and you know what you're doing, let's get the resume ready. A teen resume should focus highlighting relevant skills to the job. Education, your education where you are, and experience, even if it's limited. I babysat or I cut someone's grass or whatever you did, that shows responsibility, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And it should include contact information, how they get a hold of you, a summary, which is basically like a sentence just kind of saying, why you want the job or whatever. Information about work history, what we just mentioned. Extracurricular activities. I like to play volleyball, shows you're a team player. Volunteer work and achievements. It sounds like a lot, but really, you can Google, I think it's on, Google. You can Google free teen resume templates. Yeah.
Those are excellent suggestions, and don't be feeling bad if you don't have very much on your resume, right? You haven't had much experience yet, so don't worry about that. Now you've got an interview.
Woohoo! Yay, good for you.
Yay! So excellent news, and do not panic. This is those deep breath times.
Yeah.
So we've got you with some great tips. You'll be so prepared, you won't even be nervous. Well, you will be nervous because that means you're caring about it.
And you're like normal.
Yeah, that's right. Here's a few ideas about what your interview will want to know. So going back to one of our resources, Year of the Dad, as Kim said, he owned his own company and had some really good ideas for getting teens prepared for the job interview, right? So here are a few tips from him. First impressions in interviews are everything.
Yeah. So our advice here is to maybe go one step higher notch for the job when you're dressing. So it's how to dress, right?
Yeah.
So maybe go one step higher. So for instance, if you're an entry-level job like fast food or working at a grocery store, maybe some nice dress pants, nice dress shoes, a button-up shirt with a collar or a polo shirt, like a golf shirt. I don't really think a tie is... What do you think, Kim?
No.
I don't think you need a tie.
No.
He kind of suggested, he said it could be optional, but not out of the question. I don't think you need a tie for that.
And not everybody has a suit and tie kind of thing either. So, just do your best.
Yeah. However, if the job is more professional in nature or in a corporate environment where everyone else is wearing a suit, then I would probably, recommend the full suit. Dress pants, dress shirt, tie, dress jacket, and your best shoes. And make sure it's wrinkle-free, right?
Yeah.
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 Mom,
Yeah.
you steam my pants. So you can dress after that like everybody else. But if you're not sure in the corporate world, I think a suit might be the best option.
Yeah, agreed. And also, super important, be on time. Never be late for a job interview. Okay, I know things happen sometimes, right? But do your best. What this is giving them is your first impression of your work ethic. Mm-hmm. And if you're late, then you've already lost their confidence in your interviewer's eyes. Mm-hmm. So plan accordingly for anything that might make you late. Like check out exactly where you're going. If you think there may be some travel delays, then go much earlier.
So you know what I did once? I actually drove there.
Yeah.
The day before or something. I drove there. Wasn't quite sure where I was going. It was in Toronto at the time. So I drove all the way down and saw the building, saw where I was going to park. So the day of, I was, comfortable because I knew where I was going.
I've done the same thing too.
Yeah.
It just takes a whole chunk of stress out of the whole.
Oh, yeah,
right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, so that's important. And also go in on your own. As tempting as it might be to have a buddy go with you, or your mom, or us. Go in on your own.
Yes.
Even if your parent drove you, no, you still got to go in on your own. Mm-hmm. So this is you starting to be independent. This is important.
Exactly.
And arrive early, but not too early. So like 10 to 15 minutes before your interview time would be a good time, right? Because if you're too early, even though they appreciate your enthusiasm, that can be kind of awkward, right? Having you sit in the lobby for 30 minutes.
What are they going to do with you for 30 minutes?
I know.
Right.
And then there might be other applicants sitting in there too. So.
And then one of the other things he mentioned is when you're talking to someone, and this could be a little difficult for some people, but when you talk to them, look them in the eye. Right?
Yes.
Like, look at them. I'm looking at Kim right now.
Yeah.
Matthew's looking at us in the eyes. But this is really...
Getting a little creepy.
Yeah. So this is really hard for kids because especially these days, they're on their phones, like playing video games. When you're talking to your friends, it's usually through Zoom or something.
Yeah.
But it's important to look at them in their eyes. Or they might be just nervous and trying to look at anything and keep them distracted.
Yeah, just do your best.
Yeah. Look at a person in the eyes tells them that you're paying attention.
Right. You don't have to, stare at them.
No.
But just...
look at them like you're listening.
Right.
And you're interested in what they have to say.
Yeah. So don't just be staring at the wall or at your shoes or anything else, really,
Just look at them when they're talking to you.
Yeah. Also, responding to their questions with a yes or no.
Oh, yeah.
So don't use the sure or nah or yep. So this just shows signs of maturity and respect. They might not want to hear, yeah, I guess so, or sure, whatever. It doesn't instill confidence to the interviewer.
So stick to yes and no.
Yes.
And no.
And no.
Yeah. I think a really good thing that gets passed over sometimes is research the job. You're going to know if you want to do it. If you research it, you'll know more about it. And if you really want to do it, then you're going to be able to contribute to the conversation because you've researched it and you know a little bit about what you're going to be doing. So most starter jobs in food service or grocery stores are pretty easy to figure out. If the job description seems, there's not a lot of description, maybe it wouldn't hurt to know a little bit more about the job before the interview. So another reason to research, if this company, nobody's ever heard of the company, you want to kind of look into the company. And this maybe mom and dad can help here too, right?
Is it
And
sketchy?
just to make sure, is it sketchy or is that really a place you want to work at?
Oh, yeah.
So just make sure it's legit.
If it sounds too good to be true, usually it
sometimes,
is.
yeah.
So look into that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, super good point. The interview is also for you, right? If after you finish the interview process, you can also decide, like, hey, this is awesome. I'm super pumped and I want to work here. I'm going to learn a lot. I like the people. I like the environment. I like what they're telling me. Or if you walk out of there kind of going, yeah, no, I don't think this is going to be for me.
Yeah.
That's totally cool.
That's good too.
That's what the interviews are for. It's not just for them, right? Be reasonable. Don't apply for jobs that you are not at all qualified for.
Right.
You know, if it's something you can totally learn on the job and they're willing to do that, super. Be reasonable.
If you want to be an astronaut, you have to stay in school.
Yeah.
You can't go to space tomorrow.
And ask questions. Ask questions about the job. Even if it seems straightforward, it also shows interviewer that you are interested and excited about the job.
Yeah.
You want to know exactly what you're getting into or not.
Yeah, I thought of something else too. When we going back to that, if you decide it's not the right fit for you, so my suggestion would be in the interview, if you're coming, you're sitting there realizing in the interview this kind of really isn't for me, I would just continue through the interview. Finish, thank you very much, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just go through the interview, and then afterwards, if they offer you the position, you can either take it or decide not to.
Right.
So just kind of go through it. It's a good experience for the next one.
That's right. No, that's a good point. Don't get up, kind of throw your, papers at them and walk out if you, the middle of it, because it's a small world and people network.
And say, I got to play D&D in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
Because the person who just interviewed you may be playing golf with somebody who's going to be interviewing you for your next job.
Exactly.
So don't burn those bridges.
Yeah. Don't burn any bridges. And the other good advice that dad gave was take notes. Yeah, or if they suggest that you look up something about the company, you can write it down so you don't forget. Or you want something else that you're not sure about and you want to ask your parents. Things like that. Things that you need to kind of follow up on that you might not forget because you're nervous. Just write them down. And it shows interest. Right.
And maturity.
Yes, maturity. I agree with you, Kim.
Yeah.
Shows maturity.
I would not have had that maturity to do that at that age.
Me neither. Ask moms.
That's right.
That's why we're here.
Exactly.
So let's add to your comfort a little with some typical questions and possible answers. Oh my God, I love this part.
Yeah.
So remember, the more you practice and understand about the company and the job, the less tense and anxious you're going to be, right? So if you know what's going on in there, you understand a little bit about the job, it should put you a little bit more at ease. And you might even be a little bit excited to share what you know, if it's something that you really want to do. Don't get me wrong, it's nerve-wracking, especially for your first interview.
And second and third.
Yeah.
And 100.
Okay, so my first interview, I got hives.
Beauty.
I got hives, like full-body hives. And they put me in a room waiting for my interviewer, and my lip swole 3 times the size, my upper lip, just from reaction from being nervous. And then they were walking. I'm sure he felt sorry for me. He was really nice to me, but I could see his eyes going from my eyes down to my lip back over. That was so funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but. And then the same day, he's showing me around the building, and they had those metal stairs. And of course, I had flip-flops on, which was not appropriate. And I cut the back of my heel open, so I got 4 stitches in my heel in my interview. But I got the job.
Oh, well done.
I think it was a pity job. Yeah.
No.
If you're nervous, you're not alone.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll help take the pressure off with these typical questions.
Let's start with the 7 most common job interview questions. We've got sample answers for you, too. Now, these are from Danielle Leonard of MyDo Today.
We suggest you take the time to write out or rehearse your own answers. So take into consideration your experience or lack of. There's nothing wrong with that. Your personality and how comfortable you are about sharing. Your answers should strike a balance between being your true self and presenting a professional image.
Now, here's a question.
Okay.
Sometimes it's the first one, and they say, tell me about yourself. So you're sitting in interview, super nervous, and you draw a blank.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And that's totally okay. It seems like a simple question, but oh my gosh, you might struggle to come up with what to say. So be prepared. Your response should relate to the job somehow and should be relatively brief, right? No big story. And practicing in front of the mirror will help you from mistakenly oversharing, which might happen anyway in the moment, right? But like, just do your best. So basically, the interviewer is interested in learning about what matters to you, your personality traits, and how well you'd fit into the job. So this question will also help break the ice, or could, and build a rapport for the rest of the interview. It'd be super cool if like something you could find in common. So because you probably don't have any work experience yet, your answers can focus maybe on your personal interests, right? Responsibilities at home or school, and any extracurricular activities you're involved in. Finish your response by relating your traits to the job you're applying for.
Okay, so what you mean is like your final statement, the final thing you say, answering that question should somehow relate to the job?
Yeah.
So here's a sample answer, okay, to tell me about yourself. I'm in grade 11, and I've been on the honor roll since grade 9. Good for you if that's true, but
Yeah, well done.
it's not needed. I'm a member of my high school robotics league, and this year my team came in first for the school board's annual robotics championship. I really like computer programming and learning how to solve difficult problems as part of a team. I think that would help me in this role as a computer programming camp leader. I like to help others figure things out and rarely get frustrated, even when the problem seems impossible at first. So that would be a sample answer, so you could kind of slide in your own information in there. I kind of like that, and I see what they mean now about sliding that into the computer programming.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Good transition. Okay, another question. Why are you interested in working for us? Okay, so basically this tells the employer that you've done research about the business, about them, about the job, or not.
Right.
So your answer will help the interviewer determine how much you'll care about this position and how you'll perform the required duties. So if you can show that you have a personal interest in working for the company, such as you want to build a certain skill that you'll obtain from this company and from this job, or you're super passionate about the industry. This way, the interviewer will recognize your willingness to work hard and act responsibly.
Learn, right? And learn.
Because it's important to you.
Yeah. So for that question, why are you interested in working for us? The sample answer would be, I began baking bread with my mom when I was young, and over the past year, I've really gotten into making desserts. My specialty is apple pie, which my family loves. I want to work at your bakery because I love baking, and I want to keep learning new skills in the kitchen. One day, I hope to open my own bakery.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shows them
Perfect.
And it shows them they have like a vision, right? A goal down the road.
So another question. Tell me about a recent problem and how you solved it. Okay, so this question is an opportunity for you to showcase your problem-solving skills while highlighting your ability to stay calm under pressure. You should provide, if you can, one strong example that shows the problem that you faced, how you responded to it, and what the outcome was. So typically, this would relate to an experience at work, but as a teen, you may not have any experience. So just use an example related to a school or extracurricular activity, like whatever you can find.
So for that question, tell me about a recent problem and how you solved it. The recommended or the sample answer, not recommended, but sample, is this. This year, I'm president of our high school's eco-awareness group, and one of the biggest issues we noticed was how much plastic litter was in the cafeteria. I suggested we run a plastic-free month to encourage students to bring reusable containers to school instead, and had people sign up to commit to going plastic-free. But we also didn't want things to just go back to the way they were when the month ended. Very good. I spoke to the high school cafeteria manager and asked her if they could stop selling food plastic containers. She agreed to switch to paper dishes and paper straws for most of their menu items and are now looking into changing their cutlery to something more suitable as well. Or sustainable, as well.
Another possible question, what is something you're proud of accomplishing? So when you're asked this question, it's to discover your work ethic. Learn a little bit more about what motivates you. Do you set goals for yourself? Do you appreciate the rewards of a job well done? You are needing to prepare an answer using a recent accomplishment that will show your work ethic, a sense of responsibility, and an important skill that you've developed.
So the sample answer for that would be, one of the accomplishments I'm most proud of is landing a role in my high school's musical. When I joined the drama club in grade 9, I was really shy and had a hard time speaking in public. All the members of the club had to set a goal they wanted to achieve before graduating high school, and I said I wanted to be in a musical. Very brave. It seemed like such an impossible goal at the time, but I have always loved to sing and dreamed of being in a musical since I was really young. This year, I auditioned for the lead role in the musical Grease. I didn't get that role, but I did get another role, which I was super excited about. The entire experience was so incredible and has helped a lot with my self-confidence.
So another one, describe a time you showed leadership. So the employer is asking this question because they want to be assured you've got a strong sense of responsibility, that you're able to make smart decisions on how to handle a variety of situations in the workplace.
Yeah.
So an interview may also be looking for a candidate who will be able to take on increasing responsibility and leadership in the business. So your job could grow with you. Anybody can say they've got leadership skills, but having a personal example just helps prove that you have the ability.
And that really would be helpful for someone interviewing, because if they see the role as down the road taking you somewhere else, that would be really helpful. So the question, describe a time you showed leadership. A sample answer might be, I worked on a group project for my history class last semester with 2 other classmates. We each had a role, and the plan was to meet 2 times ahead of the due date to ensure the project stayed on track. After the first meeting, I realized I was the only one doing the work and was worried we would not complete the project on time and I wouldn't get the A that I wanted. I decided to make a checklist for each of our roles and asked to meet every other day to ensure that everyone was getting through their list. I found this helped to get the project back on track, and I was also able to help the other 2 get through their checklist when they were struggling. We got that A that I hoped for. That was really good.
Yeah. All right, so another question, and this one you need to answer honestly. What is your availability? So as a student, you might have extracurricular activities, sports, friends you just want to hang out, family commitments. The hours for a part-time job can vary significantly. Mm-hmm. And make sure you consider your current time commitments, right? Be honest, otherwise you're going to be wasting their time and your time.
The question is, what is your availability? Sample answer could be, I can work any day during the school week, but prefer to not work more than 2 shifts per week so I can keep up with my schoolwork. I can also work Saturdays, but I am not available on Sunday mornings.
Perfect.
And that won't stop you from getting hired. Mm-mm. That just helps them to plan.
Exactly. So if they want to schedule.
Yeah, so don't feel like you have to accommodate everything.
No. This is a tough one, I always found. Mm-hmm. Do you have any questions for me? Not at the moment, because you're drawing a blank, so prepare for this. It's very tempting just to say nope and move on and get out of there, right? If you can at least come up with one question, it shows you've carefully considered the job, you're interested in it, and you've listened to what the interviewer's just said. Right. So if you've got a general question ahead of the interview that you've prepared, feel free to do that.
That's a good point. So here's some of the sample answers. What are the next steps in hiring? How long is a typical shift, and how many shifts per week will I be scheduled for if it's a shift? How many other staff would I be working with if I'm hired for this job? Is there any official training for this job? What do you like most about working here? Can you tell me about the team I'll be working with? All fair questions.
We hope that these sample questions and answers will help you. I so would have appreciated having these when I was looking for my first jobs. You do need to create your own answers, and if you're having trouble with that, reach out to your parents or someone with business experience or a teacher. Most important is to just understand. We all learn differently, so if you don't understand some of the answers and how they link to the question, ask someone until the light goes on and you're, I get it.
Get it.
Yeah.
And follow up with a thank you note. It also helps keep your name top of mind. Wait until the next day to send a thank you note and keep it brief. For example, thank you for taking the time to meet with me yesterday to discuss the cashier position, or whatever it is. I would be thrilled to work for your company and look forward to hearing back from you.
Learn from this experience, right? Even if you follow every single bit of advice, you look awesome, you answered everything perfectly, there's no guarantee you're going to get that job. So many people go through dozens of interviews before landing a job and don't feel bad. It's not necessarily personal. There's so many different reasons why an employer chooses one candidate over another, right? Take every job interview as a learning experience and keep improving. Like, I had a file folder probably full of no thank you letters.
Yeah.
And at times I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
But then
And there's nothing wrong with
they just had other candidates, right? Maybe it was somebody they knew. Maybe somebody had worked there before.
And the beauty is it gets easier as you go along.
Yeah.
So after your first one, it's like, oh, okay, this is what it's kind of about.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening. As always, we hope this episode helps you teens out there, and also you parents helping your teens navigate through their first job experience. We hope you all feel heard, supported, and empowered, and we know you do your best.
We do. And please send in any questions or comments for Ask Moms, or if you have any ideas for future topics, we would love to hear them.
Yes.
Please connect with us by emailing us at askmomstoday@gmail.com or leave a comment below.
Yes, and please remember, you're not alone. Until next time, take care of yourself. You've got this.